Hey guys, it's Jay Calderon with 12rounder.com here to give you the aftermath to Carl Frampton versus Kiko Martinez 2. This happened in Belfast, Northern Ireland. It was a rematch of a 2013 bout which Frampton won by stoppage. This time, however, Martinez went out, won himself a version of the title, and it made a rematch make all the sense in the world, as Frampton, of course, was looking for a title shot. And he got it, and he got the title. It was a very interesting fight. Martinez certainly seemed more focused than he did in their first encounter. He was rushing with a little more intent at times, but that being said, Frampton seemed to improve upon him in himself in that fight as well. He dropped him, I believe it was in the 5th round, but at the same time he remained composed. He knew it was a tough fight, and he was able to improve upon a performance that actually, if you look at it on paper, wasn't necessarily improvement. This time he won by a very wide decision, but a decision nonetheless, as opposed to the stoppage. But the thing you have to factor into the equation is that, again, Martinez had more on the line. He had gained some experience himself, and according to him, at the very least, he had a better preparation for this fight. So, of course, the dynamic of the fight can certainly change in that respect. In any event, Frampton, again, still too good for Martinez, and after seeing 2 fights, it appears it's one of those sort of rivalries, if you will, where you face them up against one another 10 out of 10 times, Frampton's probably going to come out on top. That's the way it appears at the very least. Again, though, Martinez definitely put up a great fight. It just was one of those things where Frampton was a little bit better. Moving forward, Martinez certainly going to be a tough fight for pretty much anyone that he faces. He'd certainly be a good test for the other junior featherweights out there, potentially Rigondeaux if he is interested in facing someone with a bit of a name that's willing to take the risk and fight him, and Martinez might be in that sort of position. And he could also test the other junior featherweights out there, potentially the likes of course, the other titleist in Scott Quigg or Leo Santa Cruz, or even Maris, Abner Maris, that is, who's a featherweight currently, but has suggested he might be moving down and would be interested in fighting Frampton. Of course, if he were able to beat Martinez perhaps in better fashion, that might give people reason that might give you a bit of a build between the two fighters in terms of Maris and Frampton for the future. So that could be potentially an interesting angle for Martinez. As it goes for Frampton, of course, the world is his oyster at this point. He has a tremendous following in Belfast. He's an exciting fighter. He can box quite a bit, and he also, of course, has knockout power, and that always impresses. He called out Scott Quigg after the fight, claiming that, of course, he's the draw. He's the guy with the legitimate title, as he put it. But at the same time, it is a fight that, in order for them to have the best, biggest fight they can possibly have, they do have to fight each other. So that has to be kept into the equation here. Quigg, you could make an argument Quigg needs Frampton more than the other way around, but Frampton needs Quigg still if he's looking for that massive fight. Every other fight out there is tough, it's challenging, it's interesting. Fighting the likes of Leo Santa Cruz or potentially even Abner Maris, those are big fights, but they're not that fight, the fight that everyone, especially on that side of the Atlantic, cares to see. In any event, Frampton still does have plenty of options. If that fight doesn't peel off, he certainly has the potential to look into a fight with Maris or with the likes of Leo Santa Cruz. I like the fighters in the division am basically avoiding the name Rigondeaux because, let's face facts, that fight isn't happening next for Frampton. He's in much too valuable a position to risk it with such a fighter. But that being said, it could potentially open up avenues for something along the lines, something down the line, I should say. But until then, let's just keep it in the world of reality here. Nonetheless, good performance by both, but obviously Frampton just a little better. And it was a very exciting fight, very great atmosphere, of course, and it was a good win for Frampton. So tell me what you think, of course, in the comments below. Also, tell me on Twitter at 12rounderboxing. Be sure to visit 12rounder.com. Like, share, comment, subscribe, of course, all of those great things. Be sure to do that as well. And until next time, enjoy the fights.